Good morning, guys. I'm opening up the greenhouse right now, and I thought it could be really fun to show you what a day in my life is like, because I have kind of a long to-do list today. I have a lot of filming to do, a lot of little tasks to do in the garden that I need to take care of. And so it's kind of just like a glimpse behind the scenes, because I get a lot of comments that are like, wow, it must be so nice to just garden all day. And it is. This is my dream job, but there's a lot more to it than just kind of spending all day with my plants. These are so cool, by the way. They were invented by a firefighter to help hold doors open while they were going into like buildings to help people. And I've just been using them to hold the doors open in the greenhouse. I actually have a to-do list in here because I have this thing where like, it's part of my anxiety. I have to kind of write things down or I'll just continually remember them over and over again. But once I write them down, they're out of my head. So I know I have a lot on the list, but I don't remember exactly what it is. One of those things is staring me right in the face, and that's the fact that it's pine pollen season here, and everything is coated. So at some point I have to clean all of this, and I really don't even know how I'm gonna do it. Okay, I have my list. Let's see, cleaning the greenhouse on the list, of course. We need to stake the tomatoes. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. I'm gonna kind of show you what I prefer to do just because it's super low maintenance and easy. I have some new tomato cages that I need to set up as well for a couple other plants. I think I'm gonna actually cage some squash with them and try to grow those vertically. We need to do some weeding today. I have to thin the peach tree. I have a seed experiment that I need to finish up that I'm gonna show you. We're gonna do an experiment to see if there's something that we can do about the cabbage moths. And we're also going to harvest some lettuce. So a lot of this stuff that I actually have to film it for reels, for like short form content as well. So you're gonna kind of see the behind the scenes of me like actually getting those shots set up and everything. I have already like pre-written voiceover scripts for these, and it's just gonna be like B-roll content, which means like I don't actually have to talk to the camera as I'm filming it for that video. So it's gonna be a beautiful day. It's gonna be like 80 degrees out, and we're just gonna try to get as much done as we can. I feel like this is not coming across on the camera as well as it should. Like this is, it's on everything. I actually put a white shirt on today, and then right before I came outside, I was like, nope, that's not happening, because I'm just gonna turn it yellow. Okay, so this is my tomato bed. I have a lot of lettuce in here that we'll harvest later as well. Even all of this is just covered in pollen, actually. And these are my King Richard leeks, and I'm doing all dwarf indeterminate tomatoes this year. So I haven't really had to stake them yet because they've been taking their sweet time growing upward, but they just started to have a huge growth spurt. So I wanna make sure that I get these trellised properly. So I put the bamboo stakes in when I put in the actual tomato plants, because if you add a stake after the plant has been established, you can actually kind of break into that root system and damage it. So these have already been in place. They're 4-foot bamboo stakes. I really like to use bamboo because they're very sturdy and very affordable. You'll see a million different ways that you can trellis tomatoes. I prefer to do this method just because it's very simple, very cheap. So all that I'm gonna do is actually take my Velcro tape. It doesn't stretch out like jute twine, so even though it is kind of more of a plasticky material, I've gotten many years of use out of it. With these, you don't really need to do that figure 8 method that helps to keep the stem from damaging, because it's so soft and wide to begin with. And I'm not even really like pinching the plant to the trellis. I'm just kind of looping it around so that it's just making contact. 2 down, 18 to go. I think if you see our garden from the other direction, overlooking the field, there's this assumption that we live in a really rural area, and we do live in a fairly rural area. I mean, we've got cows for neighbors, but there is a busy street directly adjacent to my garden that I feel like gets busier and louder every single year. It's kind of sad to see. I need to do some cleanup in here too, because I just picked lettuce while I was making dinner the other night and just like left the bad leaves rotting in the bed. One of the things that's been a little bit weird about this new garden space is the compost is like way over there. So as I'm like cleaning things up, I really need a bucket in this space that I can just throw things in and carry it all over at once, and I haven't quite figured that out. I actually ran out of the Velcro tape, which is a bummer. Like I kind of thought I had an infinite supply of that. But it's okay. I do have some twine. The only thing with the twine is that you don't want to actually tie it just like in one loop. you want to kind of figure eight it around the stem. I'll show you what I mean. That way it doesn't like cut into the stem and damage it. So I'm going to cut off these lower branches because we don't need those, these little suckers. Clean that up a bit. Now what you're going to do is go around the plant and crisscross, and then around the stake and crisscross. And this way there's no actual like crisscrossing happening on the stem itself. Nice and secure without causing any damage or constricting the stem of the plant. So one of the cool things about my job is that I get to do some product testing. So I'm on the product testing council for Epic Gardening, and they just sent me these tomato cages that I just pulled out of the box. I have the large size and the small size. So we're gonna kind of put them together. And while I'm putting them together, I need to be kind of assessing their quality, how easy it is to assemble, and I give them that feedback, and then my job is done. Okay, so they come in 2 parts for each size. And basically they're folded flat like this in the box. So they're really easy to store, which is great because I feel like tomato cages are usually one of those things that takes up so much room. So I think that's the underside. So those little legs, and it just unfolds like that. And then each of these has like a hole in it. We open this one and we line these up. I mean, that is a 10 out of 10 for assembly. It went together in like 10 seconds. And they're sturdy. Once you get that locked in, it's not going anywhere. This is a big cage too. So this is one of the ones I think I'll end up using for squash because I already trellised most of my tomatoes the other way and it just doesn't make sense for those beds. I do have 1 tomato plant in a grow bag that was extra. Bonus tomato. Who doesn't have them? I tried to grow 12, I'm growing 23. I call that a win. So I think we'll stick one of these on the grow bag tomato so we can really test it out for its intended purpose. But it's got a nice wide space here for any kind of plant that you want to grow vertically, and you know we do a lot of vertical growing here, so it'll definitely be useful to have. These are also from Epic Gardening, the grow bags, but I have like a red cabbage, a tomato, an aurora pepper. I tried to grow fennel, it didn't come up, and there's another aurora pepper down that end. And I just kind of threw these here because I had them and I had nowhere else to put them. Okay, so I have to spend some time writing up the full notes for them on that product test that I did. I love doing product testing because I kind of get to see behind the scenes, but hopefully by the time that you see this video, they will be live on the site and I'll be able to link them for you. All right, we're back in the dusty greenhouse, and you may have already seen this seed spirals or seed snail over on Instagram, but it's time to kind of plant these out because we've got lettuce ready to go. One of the things that I'll do to kind of make things easier on myself rather than creating all new content all the time is because a lot of people don't see my videos the first time I post it. So I'll post it again and just kind of like change up a few things sometimes. Sometimes I don't even change anything and it gets shown to like a whole new audience. So if you actually go to my page, you'll be like, there's some duplicates here, but I don't think anybody ever notices it. And the seed snail was one of those things I actually did as a partnership with Coast of Maine to highlight their potting soil. And it's just continued to grow and it got a really good reception, but because it was a paid promoted post, those don't always do as well. So now I can kind of reuse some of the content and add a little bit of more of like the end result to it and post it as just a regular post not talking about Coast of Maine, and hopefully it will reach even more people. So this is the part of being a garden content creator that I feel like people don't really see, where it's like most of the time you would just kind of grab these, stick them in, it would be like a 5-minute project, but for me it's probably gonna be like 10 or 15 minutes because I'm filming it the whole time, which kind of takes away a little bit of the magic, a little bit, but it's still totally worth that sacrifice in order to be able to share this with you the way that I do online. That's interesting. So I probably should have used solid paper. This was my concern. All the roots are like growing through everything. I mean, they did get pretty long. Oh boy, okay, got one here. All right, there we go. You just have to kind of push on it. I think Meg is gonna experiment with doing this with burlap, and I think that that will be a lot more successful. But I mean, it still works. Like, you just pull off a little bit at a time. This is where I just harvested that old lettuce from. I'm actually gonna pull it out by the roots. I don't always do this. Sometimes I let the roots decompose, but I'm gonna put a new lettuce right here, so I'll get this out of my way. What's funny is like I just filmed a single planting of one plant from that seed snail, and I still have like 20 seedlings in there that need to be transplanted, but I won't film those because I don't need to film it over and over again. I just need to get the shot, and then I can move on and kind of enjoy the rest of the gardening process. It's just like I did with the tomatoes. Like I don't need to show myself trellising 20 tomatoes, so I can get those shots and then still have that balance of it being something enjoyable that I'm just doing for myself. I think that applies in like so many parts of our lives though, because like even just think about cooking. Like a lot of times we're just throwing eggs in a pan, like we gotta eat something, it's breakfast, it's a routine thing that we have to get done. And maybe if you like cooking, dinner is when you really get to express yourself and do something creative when you have more time and you're not as rushed. I'm always trying to strike that balance as a small business owner of like doing this because I love to do it and it's something that's always going to be a part of my life, and doing it because it's my job. Our lawnmower has been broken for like a month. Keeps getting fixed, keeps breaking in a new, different, expensive way. So like it was no-mow May, but now it's no-mow June and it's getting a little bit out of control. I do have to do some weed whacking. I'm probably not gonna film that. I don't really wanna even do it today. I kind of wanna wait till it's a little bit cooler. But I am gonna weed the wood chips in the far beds over there because it's getting a little bit out of control. I did do some sheet mulch with cardboard, but there's areas where the cardboard didn't overlap properly and the weeds always find a way, so we just have to get out there and pull those while they're still easy to pull and they're small. The Lakota squash is blooming. Oh my God, this thing has just not stopped growing. Every day it's doubling in size. So these are my Beauregard snap peas, and this wasn't on my list to do today, but it's on my list in my mind every day because they kind of just go wild, and like I have to kind of come through while the top of the stem is still soft and trellis them and train them, because otherwise when I try to do it later, the stem is too thick and it just snaps. And there's also some cucumbers in here. I'm doing 4 different varieties. I have Suyo, Market More, Lemon, and I honestly don't remember what the 4th one is. I'm trying to make sure that those aren't getting choked out because the snap peas aren't gonna last that much longer. I wanna make sure that my cucumbers are getting enough sunlight so that by the time the snap peas die off and I cut them back, the cucumbers will be able to thrive. And Birkenstocks are like the only shoes that are comfortable for me when I have a day on my feet like this with my arthritis, but there's something about the footpads. They like suck up gravel and wood chips and I have to tip them out every 5 minutes. So I just sat down to take a break and chat with you guys, and I talked for like 5 minutes and I realized I didn't hit the record button, so that's cool. The birds are really going nuts today. I don't know what their deal is. So I've probably been filming for about an hour and on my feet that whole time. And it is muggy today, so I really should have probably taken a little bit of a break sooner, but it's hard for me to stop. It is hard for me to stop. One of the things that I'm working on negotiating with myself right now is kind of shifting my focus here to be more present here on YouTube, because I have been filming like 4 videos a week for Instagram and 1 for YouTube, and now it's going to be 2 videos a week for YouTube and 3 on Instagram. So just kind of shifting my priorities a little bit, and it's a mental adjustment for sure because I have to start doing more of these kind of like vlog style videos. I kind of need your feedback on whether or not you like these longer videos and if they're helpful to you, even if it's just that it brings like a calming moment into your day to kind of watch me be in the garden and do my job. That's fine. So I'm probably gonna grab the ladder to thin the fruit tree. There's way too many peaches on it right now, even though I tried to cut down as many extra branches as I could. So we need to get that thinned before they get any bigger. Creaky door. How did I ever reach that? No, that branch is gonna break because I can't get up that high. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this. We're going down to 2. I should probably go down to 1, but I really don't want to. In case you couldn't figure this out, I like peaches, as evidenced by the name. I'm thinning from the very end, so I'm leaving like the one closest to the innermost branch on there because that's the one that's least likely to like bend and snap the branch. Can we pull this down? Oh, so clearly this tree was planted before I was involved, and my mom didn't know about backyard orchard culture and keeping things at a reasonable height. And this particular branch I wanted to prune off in the spring because I know it's gonna break. I just know it. Hello, spider. Oh, I really wanted to finish that, but it is getting so hot. So I'm just gonna leave the ladder there and finish it later tonight, probably when it cools off. I do have to film another long form video today. I'm doing like a Q&A video. So I'm kind of just compiling like all the most frequently asked questions and some random questions that have been asked in previous AMAs on Instagram and recording it as like a whole Q&A for you guys here in the greenhouse. So I'm take care of that. But before I can do that, I have to clean the greenhouse, and I've been really putting this off because I just feel like I'm gonna want to take a shower afterward. Like everything's covered in pollen. I'm just gonna like work my way down the end of this table because I feel like I'm gonna end up knocking pollen everywhere. So we get the pine pollen is supposed to last like another 10 days apparently, but I can't even like work in here right now. I've been avoiding like cleaning it at all because I just wanted to wait until it was all done before I really went after it. But I can't like touch anything in here without getting coated in it. And we're going for done is better than perfect right now, so we'll just get what we can done as long as I get enough that I can like actually work in the main areas that I need to work in. That's all from that one section of the table. This is absurd. I feel like I'm just rubbing the pollen around at this point. Thankfully, this is pine tree pollen and we're not really allergic to that, or I would be dying right now. All right, I've set up everything so I can do my Q&A video for you guys. I'm excited for this one. It should be fun. Now I'm moving on to my cabbage moth deterrent project. So the idea with this is that cabbage moths are really territorial and they don't want to lay eggs where they think there's already a lot of egg laying activity going on. So if you can make cabbage moth decoys, it's supposed to deter the actual cabbage moths from even setting foot in your garden. So I'm gonna try it 2 different ways. The first way is just by cutting out this template and tracing it onto some plastic I have left over from this winter sewing jug and mounting those on stakes in the garden. And then the second way is actually cutting out like little circles from a shopping bag and threading them onto this to make like a cabbage moth garland. I've heard this works really well. I'm skeptical, but I think the garland would work better because it has more movement to it. So we're gonna try both and see what happens. Wasn't supposed to rain today, but it's sprinkling now, so I am just gonna get the lettuce harvested and wrap this up. This one looks like it is bolting. You can tell because it's getting so tall. And there's definitely some ants living in it, so we're gonna cut it pretty low. That should be plenty for salad tonight. Thank you so much for gardening with me, and happy growing.